Welcome to the Know Your Legacy podcast. I'm your host, Vipul Vasania, and today's guest is Caleb Maddix. Caleb is a 16-year-old millionaire entrepreneur who is taking the world by storm with his ability to impact people across the world of any age, young, old, and anything in between. He's the author of multiple books and the founder of Maddix Publishing. I'm pumped to have you on, bro. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Honored to be on. Glad we're making this happen. I get opportunities all the time to be on podcasts, but whenever I got the opportunity to be on yours, I was massively excited. Seeing clips of yours and excited to talk to your audience and provide some massive value. We're gonna have some fun. So
most definitely, go down, bro. Most definitely. So let me start by asking you this: what's the one question that you feel that people don't ask you enough that you wish they did?
I've never ever had a podcast interview start off with that, and I vibe with that. It's the one question that people, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know if there is, because I've done so many speeches and in interviews and all that stuff where people have asked me questions. I feel like I've gotten almost every question you can get in the books. The question that I want people to ask me is the question they truly want the answer for. That's it for me, because I'm about helping people have an 180-degree transformation in their life. That's my straight up obsession. Every business I own, every action I take, every thought I have is transferred into helping people have an 180-year transformation. So whenever people just ask me questions that kind of have to do with, just what they think they should ask me rather than what they want to ask me, that's whenever I kind of like, come on, ask me what you want to ask me. So I don't know. It's whatever they want to ask me, because I'm here for the people. It's not about me. So I guess that's what I would say. But I like to throw the curveball. There you go.
No, I love that. Because most of the time people tend to ask like a surface level question because they're too scared to ask what they really want, because they feel like it's too far away.
Yep.
So obviously you being the age that you are, like you've achieved success that people don't even get when they're 60, let alone 16. So what was the transformation for you, whether that be with your dad or whether that be something that you learned along the way? What was that point for you that you felt like, okay, this is where I feel like my identity is shifting?
First of all, I like what you just said though about people are afraid to ask that question. That's the truth. By the way, most people fail because of themselves, plain and simple. Like it's not like something happened or the economy or they didn't have the right mentor. You're the only person that is going to help you have success or is going to hold you back. You're your biggest advantage and disadvantage at the same time. So love that perspective. So to basically answer what kind of shifted, and I tell this on pretty much every podcast I can and every speech I give, I try to bring this up because this was the moment of my life and everything changed for me. This is why I've had the privilege of writing 9 books and, impacting the millions of people I've been able to impact and living the life I'm able to live. It's plain and simple. I was 7 years old and I went over to a friend's house and I was sitting on the couch with my friends, and anytime I go over to my friend's house, they always wanted to play video games. My dad never used to really let me, my dad or mom never used to really let me play video games too much as a kid. So whenever I go over to their house, I was like, okay, let's play video games. This is my one shot to play video games as a kid, right? So we're sitting there on the couch and we're playing video games and looking at the screen and we're like super locked in. And our focus kind of got broken up because my friend's mom walked up to him while we were on the couch, tapped him on the shoulder and pulled out a $20 bill and handed it to him. Now, dude, at $7, bro, that's a lot. At 7 years old, $20 is a lot of money, right? It straight up is. Like now I'm 16 worth $1 million, but I don't even think that's as much as it happens at $20 at 7. So I was like, dude, what did you do to get this $20? I was super intrigued. And he told me this revolutionary concept called chores, where anytime you would take out the trash or do the dishes or do the laundry, he would get paid $20 at the end of the month if he did it consistently. So I was like, oh my goodness, my dad has been screwing me over. I have been taking out the trash. I've been doing the dishes, but dude, I have not been getting paid for it. The first thing I said to my dad when I saw him, he was thinking he's going to get bubbly 7-year-old Caleb. Nope, he got an angry 7-year-old Caleb. Dad, you have not paid me to do chores. All my friends get paid to do chores. They get paid $20. I want to get paid to do chores. My dad told me something that changed my life forever. He said, Caleb, no. I'm not going to get paid to do chores. And I was like, Dad, that's so unfair. All my friends get paid to take out the trash, do the dishes, etc. He was like, Caleb, I'm not going to pay you to do the chores because you're not going to get paid to do chores whenever you're older. You're going to have to do that. You're not going to get paid to take out the trash unless you become a trashman. And I know that's not your current goal, unless you do the dishes, unless you're working in a restaurant. But I know you have big aspirations. You're not going to get paid do chores whenever you're older, so I'm not going to pay for that now. But what I will pay you for is what you are going to get paid for when you're older. And that's the books that you read and the things that you learn. So from that moment forward, my dad started paying me $20 for every single business and success book that I would read. And I started reading these success principles books and Think and Grow Rich and, you know, all these different types of books, like, you know, like literally go down the list, any personal growth book, business book, biographies. My dad started paying me to read all these books. So I started thinking, man, you know, I can get $20 for these books, right? So I started reading these books, and I also had to write a report on them, make sure that my dad knew that I was actually learning. So I started reading these books at first for the $20, and then I started having real transformations. Ever since the first book, I was like, whoa, it changed my mindset. So then I started reading it myself. And my dad would start to find me at 2 a.m. reading a book that I didn't even tell him I was going to read. And it wasn't like I was doing it for $20. I was doing it because now I had a hunger. And that hunger to learn was the ultimate catalyst that propelled me to now be who I am today. And this is what I tell people. Here's the deal. The person hungriest to learn will always be fed the most results. If you are hungry to learn, if you are starving, craving to learn, you're going to find the right answers. You're going to learn. That's the first step. The key to success, K-E-Y, is to keep educating yourself. The problem is most people think they know it all or don't want to know more. And that's why they're not getting the results they want. I mean, I sit in rooms with billionaires, and it's annoying because I'll sit in a room with a 40-year-old billionaire, and they're trying to ask me more questions than I'm trying to ask them, because all billionaires, all high-level people are that hungry to learn. And that was the first thing for me that I kind of learned growing up. And me having that hunger to learn allowed me to learn the right keys that allowed me to, okay, now I learned this thing. Okay, well now I know that I need to, start a business or whatever it is. Now I know that I need to wake up early. I got all the keys after that. But the first thing was me having the hunger to want to find out those keys. So that was the first moment for me, man.
That's what I found across pretty much every successful person, is they have that hunger to learn, that there's a sense of curiosity, like what else don't I know? What else don't I know? What else don't I know? And then you just keep searching and searching and searching. And then before you know it, your knowledge, your experience and what you're doing eventually reflects in the reality that you live in. And that's what's obviously happened for you.
Yeah.
So at 7, 8, you're reading all these books. What does life look like in terms of balancing between, I'm having this mental transformation, but I'm still in school? Like how is that balance of life looking like?
So it started to get weird because, I went from being the same as all my other friends, but actually before I was actually kind of below the level of them. I had no confidence. I was shy. I was insecure. I mean, if someone tried to come up and talk to me, sometimes I would just break down crying. I couldn't talk in front of my class. Like I had so little confidence. And then I went from just reading these books. I had this massive mindset transformation to where now I was thinking way beyond the way they were thinking. We'd be playing sports, and it was funny because, they would be, I have the worst team in sports. Like meaning they would pick teams and all the 6 best players would be on the other team. And it would be me and all the quote unquote scrubs, right? And I'd be on the worst team, and they would all be complaining like, hey, we're on the worst team. And I literally used to be so ticked at them. Like, hey, we have to take full responsibility. If we say we're going to lose, we're going to lose, right? So I started being so much different than all of them. And because I was different, I made a difference, and I got different results than they were getting. So it definitely, I started to surpass the way they were thinking. Whenever I surpassed the way they were thinking, I started to surpass the results they were getting. So then after that, I started, starting my own businesses, and I decided, I want to start going on mission trips. So I started going on mission trips. I've been on over 53 mission trips now, and in America alone. At the age of 16, I decided, I want to start working out every morning. I want to set goals. I started writing out my goals. That alone made me think so much different than everybody else. And I want to encourage people, because here's what I've understood, man. Like, this is what I've learned. People get so discouraged when they think different than other people, when in reality, they need to be discouraged that they're not thinking different than other people. They need to be discouraged that they're thinking the same as everyone else. Because if you're thinking the same as everyone else, you're going to end up in the exact same place everyone else is, which sadly is being miserable. So that was the first thing that really happened to me, is I started to understand and started to become comfortable with not being the same as everyone else. That's the problem. People crave way too much to be the same as the average, yet they don't want to live average lives. and that doesn't correlate.
See, the one thing I really resonate with that, and the one thing that I've realized, which is the whole message behind Know Your Legacy, is everyone's going to have a different legacy. Stop trying to copy someone else, because you don't look like someone else.
100%.
Your fingerprint, the design of your eyes, the fingerprint under your foot, all of that is never happened, and it's never going to happen again. And so to me, at least, I feel like there's a reason for that. So you need to figure out what your gift and your talent is, and then go and give it to the world.
Love that.
And that's your own journey from beginning to end. That's it. Like if you start copying other people,
100%.
The problem comes in from when you're looking at people from inspiration and turning it into imitation. That's when you get like, right now I'm just copying other people. I'm not really on my own journey. I feel lost, or I feel like I'm not really getting anywhere. So can you paint a picture of like what life was like for you and your dad at that time as well, before the money, before the adventure, and before sort of speaking across the world? Because I know it was drastically different then, wasn't it?
That's what a lot of people also don't understand, because I actually just got a message a second ago, and I always put the biggest smile on my face whenever I get this message. It's like, Kilo, I see in your bio that you're a millionaire by 16. It must be so great to, have such an amazing life handed to you. And I'm like, man, it wasn't close to handed to me. Like it's been a difficult, teeth grinding journey that I wouldn't trade for anything. But like my dad and I, we literally at one point, we were living in a Sunday school room with $7 in our bank account, and we didn't have a car, so we had to bike ride to Chick-fil-A. Like just straight up like bike ride. Like we were just bike rode like 20 minutes to Chick-fil-A because I was craving Chick-fil-A. The thing though also is, even though it was a tough time, it was one of the most enjoying times we had. We enjoyed that time that we had together. I remember my dad used to always treat it like a game. Like, Caleb, let's he used to because he knew that we were in such a tough place of sleeping in the Sunday school room, bike riding Chick-fil-A. He'd be like, Caleb, we got to outrun the aliens or whatever. Like he'd make it up. Or then he would be like, Caleb, can't you wait until we're super successful? And, we are going to, this will be in our movie, like us bike riding Chick-fil-A, and then it's going to show us on stage in front of tens of thousands of people. But my dad always taught me in my head, this is where we are, but this is not where we're going. This is where we are, and we're going to enjoy where we are, but it's not our end destination. And that's the thing. People get it wrong. Either they're too stuck with where they are, or they're too focused where they're going to where they never enjoy where they are. It's a balance. You have to realize that if you're not happy in this exact moment, you're never going to be happy. Like if in this moment you are not fulfilled throughout the toughest times, throughout you having no money in your bank account, you're not going to be happy when you have money in your bank account. And people say that, like, Caleb, does money make you happy? I'm like, no, it doesn't at all. But if you're happy when you're broke, you're going to be really happy when you're rich. that's what I tell people, right? So that for us, it definitely came from a tough time. But my dad always taught me that even though you go through things in life, you have pain. When you're going through something, you're just going to something. At the end of the day, that's just it. If you're going through pain, and I found that in my life, whenever I have the worst things happen with business partners or with family, or I go through the worst things, fail the biggest business. Right on the other side of my failure is my biggest success. And that's where a lot of people get around. They think failure is the end, but in reality, failure is literally right. Failure is like a flip. You have failure, and if you flip it around, it's just success. You have to rush right through that, and you have that success. And every successful person I've met has known that and understood that. And that's what people don't understand about me, is even though I was in that Sunday school with my dad and I enjoyed that time so much because we knew what was on the other side.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's just perspective of the whole journey. So the other thing I want to just go into a little bit more, since you touched on that point, is just to go into a few more of those darker moments that you face, just so people get a picture of, everything's not all, sunshine and rainbows. There is a journey to this. There is a process to this. There are steps, So what are some of the memories that stick with you, or the stories that you like to tell people, like, yeah, you know what, I did go through this and I'm grateful?
I mean, the thing is too, a lot of people think you only go through those times whenever you're at the bottom. But a lot of times being at the top, like when you start to have some success, that's when you feel at the bottom the most, because it just magnifies the problems. Honestly, I can tell you what though, probably one of the hardest problems that here's the deal, business problems are easy. Personal problems is where it's really hard. And whenever they mix, it's even harder. So like my dad and I, we had two business partners that we really were close with. We lived with them. We were, we had a relationship with them. We knew everything about them. They knew everything about us. And we had a massive altercation with them. They totally screwed us over, lost a lot of money from the entire situation, like a lot. And it was like I said, it was literally one of the darkest moments. But the people who literally in the darkest moments can like almost create the light, those are the people who win. I don't know how to explain it, but if people understood that even in the terrible moments, there's still some sort of enjoyment. Like my dad and I, we got so screwed over with that whole business partner situation. Like I must have puked multiple times because just the difficulty of it. It's like Elon Musk says, I'd rather eat glass than relive my entrepreneurial journey. I used to think he was crazy when I was younger. Nowadays, I'm like, bro, can we take it one step further than eating glass? There's got to be something more painful than that I would still do. It's a difficult thing, but at the same time, the people who can keep their head up and be like, literally the moment that happened, get a couple of pukes in, you're in pain. And my dad and I look at each other and we're like, heck yeah, this is going to be in our movie. And that's always the thing that we say to each other. This will be in our movie. Because what doesn't kill you is just a great story to tell on stage. You know, I hear this at events a lot, right? You know, I go to events, I'll speak on stage. You have these billionaires speak on stage, people with millions of followers. They always tell these painful stories. And everyone in the back is like, isn't that so crazy, all the things they went through? It's so inspiring to hear how you can go through all this pain and still have success. And then I'm like, and then they go through something and they're all of a sudden like, oh my goodness, I didn't know this was a part of the journey. It's like, no, like you can't be inspired by people's difficult journeys and then not expect for you to go through one. If every successful person ever went through massive pain, why do you feel entitled to where you should have the most pleasurable walkthrough to success? So that's it for me. It's not pain, it's process. It's a part of the process. And finding fulfillment in all moments of the process, in the terrible times, in the great times. And just realizing the fact that you're even able to be in the process is the biggest blessing alone. Yeah. That's the real thing. I was sick for the past 2 days. I just posted on my story, but I want to expound on here on this podcast real fast because it hit me pretty good. So I was sick for like 2 days, feeling a lot better now, as you guys can tell. But I never get sick. And I was sick for 2 days. And I was literally laying in bed the entire time. And it's funny because I was thinking to myself the entire time I was sick, I was like, I would give anything to be working right now. I'd give anything to be working. I'd give anything to be able to go work out. I'd give anything to be able to go, film a video, to do a meeting, to go give to the homeless, just do something. I'd give anything to be working. And it made me realize in that moment, working and the process and everything, it's a privilege and a blessing. It's not a chore. Like it is a privilege to be able to go through the process of getting to the top, of doing what you love. Even the bad times, it's a privilege. Think about it. There's literally people who are on literally bedridden, who have cancer. And it sucks, but it's true. And if they wanted to go and start a YouTube channel right now and inspire people, they couldn't. If they wanted right now to go work out and get in shape, they couldn't. So just the fact alone that you can work should be enough motivation to work. Just the fact that you can continue the process should be enough to be able to get through the process. And that's my mindset throughout it. Like, it's a privilege, man. The pain is a privilege. It's all perspective. I just did an interview like an hour ago. Another thing I said, and this is the final thing I'll say. I'll let you get your next question because I know you have phenomenal questions. I've listened to your interviews in the past. And can't wait to dive into them. But, growing up, one of the number one eye openers for me was, my dad and I, we went on all sorts of mission trips. And we would go serve homeless people and fatherless kids and single mothers, and the list goes on. And we had we went to one homeless shelter, and there were these kids, 8 years old. I must have been 9 or 10 at the time. So I was around their age. And we bought them a pillow on Christmas. A pillow, because they were sleeping on concrete. A pillow. And they literally wept crying. They wept crying out of gratitude for the fact they got a pillow. They were so baffled. Like, I can finally, I don't have to sleep on concrete. I can finally rest my head on a pillow. They cried of joy over a pillow. And then I think of how the fact is some kids in America, UK, first world countries, wherever, they're going to cry because they got the wrong color of the iPhone they wanted. You know what I mean? That's the perspective. Like I would much rather have the problem of entrepreneurship and the problem of failure and the problem of being screwed over once or twice than I would the problems that most people go through. Most people are too soft for success. They think they have a problem. They don't really have a problem. Caleb, what do I do? Someone commented something negative on my post. Get over yourself. That's the real truth. You want to know what you should do? Stop being soft. You know what I mean? Like, there's people in war. And you're complaining because somebody commented something negative when also 7 people commented something positive, but you're too self-centered and insecure to where you only looked at the one negative comment. It's all about perspective, man. It's all about gratitude. That's the mindset you have to get into. So I went off on a rant right there.
No, I love it. No. I didn't say anything. I stayed silent because I loved it. I loved every word that came out of your mouth. But I want to ask you, what's the importance of gratitude for for the role that it plays for your success? Because I know you talk about it a lot, but I don't think people actually, because it's not a tangible thing. It's not like I can't learn gratitude. So people are like, well, how does that fit into success? So I know for you, it's played a big role. So can you just dive into a little bit of that?
Gratitude is the game. I think gratitude is what keeps you grounded. A lot of people ask me, like, what keeps you grounded? Gratitude is so much more important than what people think. Number one, I think gratitude is an actual variable to success because it puts you in a perspective that allows you to win. When you keep a certain level of gratitude of realizing, first of all, like I just said, the fact that you can even have the opportunity to write a book or do something like that is insane. It takes you out of your selfishness. A lot of people lose because they're in their own way with their own selfishness, you know? Oh, this, oh, that. When you're in full gratitude, a lot of your selfishness goes away. And quite honestly, a lot of your insecurities go away as well. So I think gratitude is huge, not only for having success, but another thing that really people don't talk a lot about is it's not all about achievement in life. Achievement is one thing, but fulfillment is a whole other thing. You know, you don't just want to have success, but you want to have fulfillment. And there's no way to have fulfillment with your achievement unless you also have gratitude mixed in. And I've had both sides. You know, I've had success and I've been massively miserable, and I've had success and I've been massively fulfilled from it. And the only bridge between the two things is gratitude. If you have gratitude, you're going to be so fulfilled, so happy, and so grateful. But if you have, if you don't, and you're just, you know, you keep living your life and you don't ever ground yourself with gratitude and sit back and realize how crazy it is that you're allowed to live the life you live and the situation you're in and everything, and the people that come before you, and the fact you're even born in the first place, the fact your great grandma didn't die. Think about it. Your great grandpa could have died and you would have never been here. But all those people were born at the time they needed to be, right? Everything coordinated for you to be here. Gratitude massively fuels me and massively also allows me to be fulfilled amongst success, because it also sits you back. And that's another thing. People always crave success. You have to reflect on the success. Sometimes you got to give yourself some credit for it too. You know, celebrate it, enjoy it. Like, think to yourself, man, I really did come a long way. You know, because a lot of times you'll crave something so much, and then 3 years later, the thing that you crave will just be so second nature. You know, I noticed that. Like, I remember my dad and I, we just wanted a place to stay in. Now, sometimes we're up in our high rise, 16 floors up, view of the ocean, all that stuff. And literally sometimes we're ticked off because, you know, something got delayed or our package didn't show up at the right time. You know, that's why going back to where you started is key. Gratitude's the game. People that get that's a huge factor of success that nobody likes to talk about, because it's not as fun as, you know, working hard or whatever people like to talk about with success, you know?
Yeah, most definitely. No, I was getting pumped as you were talking, because the whole thing about keeping perspective of everything coordinating perfectly for you to be here just reminded me of a quote that really stuck with me when I read it, by Maya Angelou. And that was, "I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. And when I heard that, and I was just like, look, everyone that came before you is now looking at you thinking, is he going to be the one? And that, for me, is just like, come on, like, you need to do something with your life. How can you not be grateful? Like, as you just said, everything coordinated perfectly for you to just be here. Are you going to really waste it away? Whether you have 16 years or you have 70 or 80 years, like, that's your time to do something with. And you've obviously done that. That's why I'm so grateful you took the time to share and shed light on your success. So just going a little bit back, rewinding back to. Oh yeah, go on, go on, go on, go on, go on.
You mind if I add on that real quick? Because I love what you just said. It's one of the number one things I love to talk about, and something that a lot of people don't think about. When you said like I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. The thing is, that's the truth. Drake, Drake has a lyric. Like I love Drake. He has a lot of good lyrics and stuff that have a lot of meaning. But one of the lyrics he says, "I'm breaking speed records on the roads that people paved." And what he means is, I may be breaking the speed records. I may be going 150 miles an hour and flying by, and everyone's blown away about how fast I'm going. But if someone 100 years ago, or my dad, or my mom, or my great-grand, if they didn't pave this road, I could have never broken the speed record. If there was not a road here in the first place, I love that. I just wanted to add that in of also realize that you're letting down, you not having success and you not living the life you want to live and you not being fulfilled and happy is letting down everything that it's taken for you to get here today. You're letting down your parents, your great-grandparents. You're letting down your kids, the people you're going to help. That perspective too is so key of people pave these roads. Even me, I'm yeah, it's cool that I had a video that reached over 40 million people. But if Mark Zuckerberg hadn't created Facebook in the first place in his basement, you know what I mean? That's the key. That'll help you be motivated, have success, but always realize it'll keep you grounded and humble at the same time. To realize no matter how much success you have, it's always your accomplishment, but it's also never your accomplishment at the same time. Anyway, continue, bro.
I know. I love that. I love that. So just to go back to when you were 7, 8, so how did things pan out after the reprogramming of you reading now, your mindset shifting, you're changing the way that you behave in school? What then happens leading up to 12, 13, around that age?
So at that time, I was reading so much. I got to the place where I was reading almost a book a month, probably by 12. I was reading a book a month. I was just rolling through them. There were so many mindset shifts I had. The main shift I really had was confidence. I started to finally develop some confidence because, like I said, someone used to come up to me and try to talk to me, I'd cry. I literally was so insecure at the age of 7. My parents had gotten divorced, so kids made fun of me because of that. My teeth were jacked up, so people, kids made fun of me because of that. I didn't have any confidence at all. I think the number one thing that I kind of developed from all that was an insane confidence in myself. And it was so key because here's the deal. When you can get rid of your insecurities and develop confidence, so many breakthroughs happen and so many things fall in place that you would have never thought were correlated with confidence. You stop caring what people think massively, which is one of the number one things that hold people back. People are like, Caleb, I don't have a brand on social media. It's probably because you're insecure. You're too insecure to put out enough content because you're worried about how your hair looks. Or what if your content's not good enough? Or what if your aunt thinks you're weird for posting it? So it took away me developing that confidence, took away my insecurity towards what people thought. And then also took away my insecurities toward me trying and the fact of failure. Because I knew I was so confident where I was going that got to the place where I knew no matter what someone says, no matter what I go through, no matter what happens, I will be successful. And when you have that level of conviction towards you getting results, some powerful stuff happen. Plain and simple, powerful stuff happen. So for me, that was the number one thing that got instilled in me was an insane confidence in myself. It got to the place where I signed every one of my yearbooks, Caleb, you will see me on TV one day, Maddix, because I just believed it. So if somebody's out there, that's one of the number one things I would really go lock yourself in the cabin for 3 days and figure out, how do I instill confidence in myself? Why, what is it? Is it something somebody said? Is it the fact that I'm continuing to believe that I don't have confidence? Whatever it is, confidence is one of the ultimate things that hold people back. And I've rarely met a successful, non-confident, insecure person because the two usually don't go hand in hand.
No, most definitely. That's important. So when did you start? Because when people see you speak on stage, obviously you've got a mad level of confidence now, but what do you remember the first 1 or 2 gigs that you did on stage, and what were they like? And what was that whole experience like? What was going through your mind?
Yeah. So the first speaking engagement I ever gave, my dad actually was giving a speech because he used to speak in a lot of churches back then. So I think I was either 7 or 8 years old. I think I was 8. I was 8 years old because after I read the books and stuff. was 8 years old, and I told my dad, I was like, Dad, I want to speak before you for 5 minutes. And immediately after I said it, I regretted it. No, I didn't mean to say that. I really don't want to. But then I said it, and my dad said, hey, you make a promise to yourself, you're going to do it. So I was like, oh, goodness. So I started getting nervous like a week leading up. But the night before, I was so scared out of my mind. It was stupid, crazy scared. Wake up that day, and I like had the biggest knot in my chest. I was like 8. So I was like, oh my goodness, I can't do it. What if I mess up? What if I this? And long story short, I got up and spoke. And I was supposed to speak for 10 minutes, actually. I spoke for 5 minutes, and midway through, I cried and ran off the stage and hid underneath the piano. Total take. And I just was so nervous, but I'd gotten up there. The next time, I didn't even do good, but I stayed through the entire time because my dad was like, you're going to do it again. You're going to do it again. Like, you're not going to allow yourself to hold your own self back. Okay, sweet. You're not going to allow this to hold yourself back. So then I did the next one. I did a full 10 minutes. Thank you. I did a full 10 minutes. And then the next one, I started to get good, started to get better. Then it got to the place where I wasn't even nervous. And then it got and then now I can speak in front of 1,000 people. No big deal at all. And the thing is, most people, here's the deal. They think that fear is something that should allow them to not take action, when in reality, fear should be a trigger that immediately makes you think, I got to do it. Here's what I've learned, man. I've been in rooms with really successful people, and it's weird because there's a language that all successful people secretly have, and that's this. If a successful person says, I don't want to do it, they immediately get mad at themselves because now they know that means they have to do it. Like I'll be with successful people, and I'll be like, "What? Do you want to jump in the water?" Like, seriously, I'm literally like, this is crazy. It doesn't even make sense. But I literally, like, we walk on the ocean, want to jump in the water. They're like, no, not really. Dang it. And they'll literally like do it. Why? Because they don't want to, but they want to do things they don't want to do because they know if you do things you don't want to do, you're going to get what you want to get. It sounds weird, but I'm serious. Like, this is the way successful people think, because they know even though they don't want to do something, they're not going to let things they don't want to do hold them back from getting to the ultimate life that they want to live and helping others live the life that they want to live. So that's the problem with most people think, well, you're nervous, so can't do it. I was nervous. I was scared. I did it anyway. I was nervous to do my first ever live stream. I shook. I literally was shaking. I did it anyway. I was nervous to start my first business. I did it anyway. The thing is, don't be mad if you are afraid. Every human being has fear, but be massively ticked off for yourself if you let yourself live a mediocre life because you're constantly afraid of things and you get to your deathbed. You know what I'm afraid of? You know why? Because I may have fears, but I have a way bigger fear that trumps all of my fears, that murders them, that suffocates them. And that's my fear of regret. I may fear failure. I may fear what people think. I may fear speaking on stage. I may fear this. I may fear that. But I massively fear regret. And I know that if I let life eat up me by my fears, that's going to suck. So even like my cousin, for example, he has like a bunch of different fears. He grew up with anxiety, but he started like getting into personal growth, and he realized, you know what? I got to start to snuff my fears. So like he hated to fly. We had a trip to go on because he's business partners with me. And we had a trip to go on. He was massively afraid to fly. He shook. He literally shook the entire time. We put in headphones, but he did it. And that's the problem. Most people, they don't get to that business meeting because they're afraid to fly. It's okay if you're afraid to fly, man. But get in the plane, because until you get into the plane, you're not getting to your destination.
No, I love that. So do you have any examples of yourself where you've initially said no, and then you're like, damn, now I need to do it?
Dude, all the time. Let me think. Well, running was a big one, because I was at an event with somebody, and somebody's like, do you run every day? You should run every day. And I was like, no, I hate running. And I was like, oh shoot, then that means I probably should do it, because like I should test it out. So long story short, for like 3 months, I ran every day for 2 miles. 2 miles. I ran every day every day 2 miles long, and just got it in. I hated it. I did it anyway. There's so many things. I mean, literally, like growing up, like just simple things like baseball. I wanted to become the shortstop for the New York Yankees growing up. And then I decided to go down the entire path of entrepreneurship, because I realized that everything I wanted with baseball, I could get in business, but on a larger scale. But there was a baseball team that I was massively afraid to be on, because they were way better than I was. But I was like, you know what? I don't want to do it, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I mean, literally, it's the littlest things. Like every morning, I'm trying to take cold showers. I'm constantly trying to do things that make me uncomfortable, because what you find is that's what successful people do. You know, the reason most people don't get into their zone is because they're too stuck in their comfort zone. You know what I mean? They're in the wrong zone. I'm in the zone, but some people are in their comfort zone. And when you break that, you know, like that I'm literally every day. And you know what? Like the practical thing, literally, I encourage you guys every day for the next 30 days, do 3 things that make you uncomfortable. You'd be shocked the breakthrough that you have. Being uncomfortable is an amazing requirement to get to the life you want to live. The ones who are willing to break through their comfort zone, they're the ones who are going to win. The ones who aren't are the ones who are going to have to get to that fear of regret.
Let me ask you this. What surprised you most about your journey to success so far?
It's a good question too. What surprised me most about my journey to success? I can see. There's another good question, bro. What surprised me most in my journey of success is probably how much abundance there is probably why. Because I'm gonna give an example. So growing up, like I said, I played baseball, played sports, and in sports, you're competitive. And I used to be massively competitive in baseball, and I'm still competitive this day. Play me in ping pong. I don't care if you're 3 years old. Prepare to lose. Like if you win, prepare for me to be silent for a really long time, because I hate losing. Right? Like even I'm a diehard Michigan fan, and we lost this week, and literally like almost like I went like a day of just like I couldn't even think. I'm super competitive. But when it came to success, one of the number one, or like this whole, you know, entrepreneurship business, what made me realize is there really is no competition. There's only creation. You know what I mean? Like that was one thing that surprised me, like making the shift, is just realizing everybody can win. There's so much abundance. You don't have to take anybody down for you to go up. You just don't. There's so much money out there. So many people that could follow you. So many people you can impact. So much abundance. And I don't know if that shocked me, but that was a really cool thing that I got to learn. It's like, we can all win, man. We can all help each other win. We can all collaborate. It's all about creation rather than competition.
No, exactly. That's it, man. It's just a mindset shift. And you just realize the fact that there's enough for everyone. And there isn't a competition, because you're here to just create what you were born to create. So that it's not that whatever opportunity needs to come your way, it's already been pre-planned and it's there for you. It's not like just because someone else gets it, you can't have it. It's, you know, all of the gifts and talents you have, there are opportunities to match that. So as long as you step into them, they'll open up to you. So no, you're a living example of that. So was the book business, was that what actually broke your bank into success? So like the 9 books that you've written, or was there something leading up to that?
No, the actual books I wrote didn't break me into the 7 figures. It was the actual publishing company that I have was the official thing that broke me into the 7 figures. So not only do I write books, but I also own a publishing company where we publish people's books. We help them write their book effectively while also getting it in other people's hands. Because what good is writing a book unless you get it into people's hands, right? And then also we help people build a speaking business off of that. And that's done really well. So that broke into 7 figures, but it wasn't just that. It was an accumulation of a lot of things that I have going on that had broken into that 7-figure mode.
Mm-hmm. No, it makes sense. So can you take us back to the time when you wrote your first book and what that process looked like? And you know, if your dad played a role in that, you know, what was his role in that? And what was the process behind writing it? You know, because I think you were 7 when you wrote your first one, right? Yeah. So like, how does a 7-year-old? Oh, how old were you?
Well, I was 13. I read the books at 7. 13, yeah. Wrote it. We have a person, Maddix Publishing. He wrote a book at 8. So he murdered me. So he's in that range of what you're talking about. I gotta, maybe in my next life, I'll write a book at 7. Yeah. We'll see how it goes. But I wrote it at 13, yeah. And people ask me that, what's the process of it? Very simple. So number one, what's the role my dad had in it? My dad had a very minimal role of, obviously he had an ultimate role of mentoring me my entire life to where I had the mindset. But at 13, I went with my dad. I was like, Dad, I'm about ready. I want to write a book that's going to inspire millions of kids. I want to do it. And I told my vision. I was like, I believe celebrities are going to hold it in their hands. I believe that I'm going to have videos that reach millions of people about the book. And I told him about it, and his role was, do it, go for it. And I was like, you're not going to help me at all? He's like, no, figure it out. So I literally binged that entire night. He actually had a softball game because he was in a softball league. And I literally was at the softball league, and the entire time I had headphones in, and I literally just watched YouTube videos on how to write a book. And then that entire night, just watch YouTube videos, how do you write a book, how to write a book. And eventually I just figured out, well, you know the way to write a book? You write. You know what I mean? Like at some point you just start typing away, bro. So that night I literally pulled out the notes on my phone and started like just went in. And I started writing the book and started making revisions. And next thing you know, I think it was almost 2 weeks later, maybe a week. Yeah, 2 weeks later, I finished the book. And I think it was like a 90-page, it's either 70 or 90 pages. I'm pretty sure it's a 90-page book for kids about success. It's not a kid's book, but it's for kids, meaning like it's not like, you know, the cow jumped over the hill. It's like, you know, it's like about success for kids. Like I tell personal story. And next thing you know, like I was like, Dad, I finished it. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I wrote the book. You told me to write it. And he's like, oh, no way. So then I was like, dude, I need an editor or whatever. He's like, awesome, make it happen. So then I had to like find like editors or whatever. And then, you know, I had to raise the money for that, And next thing you know, I think it was a month and a half, or a month after I'd finished writing the book, I had the first copy in my hand, and then I was ready to promote. And I started promoting it, started putting it out there. And I think it was within, you know, it did okay at first. And then after like 3 months of I tweeted Oprah every day. I tweeted, you know, I sent videos to people. I was putting out video content. Stuff started to pop off about 3 months. I had my first video get 90,000 views. And then the next one got 500,000, 950,000. And now today I've had videos reach over 40 million. But the thing that most people don't get is they're like, Caleb, how did you write a book? And they feel like I took some magic pill and just came out of me, or like I took some course. The truth is I started writing. And that's the perfect analogy for life. Just write. Whatever writing is for you, whether writing be, you know, join that club, or join the gym, or start that business, or ask that girl out. Whatever your writing is, just do it. People overthink so much. Like I would much rather you overdo than overthink. I'd rather you take too many actions and fail and mess up massively. But if you overdo, there's also gonna be a lot of success in there. But if you overthink, nothing, literally nothing. Like I can think right now about a purple elephant, but a purple elephant won't be in this room. But if I call for 4 weeks, I need an elephant and I need purple spray paint. Guarantee you I can somehow make that happen, right? Like I'm just giving an example. I've never even used that analogy. I don't know why I'm talking about purple elephants, but you gotta do it in life. Like people overthink. So one of the things I always talk about, and this is the whole concept that came out of my book, is the gun that kills the most people is the gunner. You know, people say they're gonna write a book, gonna start a business, gonna lose weight, gonna spend time with their family. They say they're gonna so much, they never do. And that gun called gonna keeps killing their dreams. They're shooting their dreams right in the head, boom. Because they say they're going to so much, they never execute. And like I've had multiple people, I get messages all the time from people like, Caleb, I watched your video about the gun that kills the most people, and I decided to start my business. I met a kid the other day at an event, not a kid, he's like 22. And he literally started a company that is now worth $60 million. And he did it after watching that video. People overthink, and that's why they never overachieve. Stop your overthinking. Start overachieving. Get in that execution mode and just write. Just write. Whatever your writing is, just write. That was the key for me. And imagine I never wrote. There have been people who would have committed suicide. Like literally who read my book, who after reading it decided not to commit suicide. Those people would have committed suicide had I not just written. You don't know the people that you're stopping yourself from impacting. You don't know the life. I would never have been able to go to the cities, the states, the countries I've been able to go to. Make the money I've been able to make. I wouldn't have just wrote. Right. That's the key.
Yeah, it all comes back to perspective, man. It's like looking outside of yourself. Like if you're not acting on it and you're thinking too heady, you need to think about what are you depriving the world of. It's not about you. It's not about, oh, I'm going to be judged, or they might not like me, or might fail. It's like, what if it went well? Someone actually going to stop themselves from killing themselves, or start that business that they're hoping to start, but they won't do it unless they see you do it. whoever that is out in the world. And so the fact that you've got the courage to do it allows you to impact whoever you're going to impact. And then it becomes this domino effect, just like the examples you gave, you know? So let me ask you this. Have there been, I'm sure there have been, but if you could shed some light on any times you remember where you thought, you know, this is just too difficult, I just want to quit. And then something happened and it just turned the gears for you. Like, you know what, I have to continue.
100%. So one time I had this idea for a video actually, and I knew it'd be super controversial. Like I was just certain of it. And because of the title. And the title of the video was Why You Were Poor, right? And basically the concept of the video, like, you know, obviously I was 14 at the time. So if a 14-year-old kid tells you, here's why you're poor, it's going to get some hate, plain and simple, right? But I also knew it was going to reach a lot of people. And I knew the concept could impact a lot of people and influence a lot of people as well. So I filmed it, Why You Were Poor. And once I was done with it, I knew it was fire and I felt good about what I said. And I agreed with what I said, obviously. But at the same time, I was afraid to post it because I knew how much hate it would get. I was like, you know what? Screw it. So the next day I decided to post it because I actually procrastinated for that whole day because I thought, you know what, this is going to get hate. It's not even worth it. So I procrastinated for the day. The next day I was like, you know what? I have to post a video today. Haven't filmed anything. It was a full travel day. I was like, I got to throw it up. So I threw up the video, shut off my phone. I was like, I'm not going to deal with the hate I get yet. I'm going to deal with it tomorrow. So I shut off Facebook. Next, you know, the next morning I opened up Facebook and there was the little thing that said 99 plus notifications or 100 notifications, whatever the max notifications on Facebook. And I was like, oh shoot, this video must have popped off. And I looked at it and it had like 400,000 views or something insane like that. It had blown up. And I was so excited. I was like, Dad, look how many views this thing reached a lot of people. And I was like, excited to read the comments because I couldn't wait to see the people I impacted, but I was also kind of discouraged because I was like, oh shoot, I'm gonna get some hate. I forgot which video it was. So I go through the comments and hate on hate on hate on hate on hate. And I'm like, okay, positive comment? Oh wait, no, there's none. Like I just like kept scrolling. It felt like there was no positive comment. So I was thinking, wait a second. If it's straight negativity on the actual video in public, if people are saying this to a 14-year-old kid in public, what are they saying to me in private? Like if they're saying this nasty stuff in public, I can't imagine what they're saying in private. So I was like, I'm gonna read through my messages. So I read through my messages and I started getting more hate and it was more intense. It was what they were saying in the comments, but worse. And then I came across a message from a guy and it discouraged me. And the guy said this, he said, Caleb, it was a long paragraph. He was like probably 40 something. So he's an adult. Long paragraph. And at the end of the paragraph, he said, Caleb, I just want you to know your videos are so dumb that you should just go and commit suicide. And I was like, whoa, like I've never gotten that before. If someone thinks that my videos are so stupid that I should commit suicide, then you know what? Obviously I'm not going to commit suicide because that's not who I am. But at the same time, for a slight minute, I thought about committing suicide, not on myself, but on my dreams. I thought about killing my goal to impact people because you know what? If people are hating it anyway, what's the point of putting out videos to inspire people? What's the point of writing a book in the first place? What's the point of me working hard? If people are literally thinking this way about me, that was the first moment because I have a strong level of confidence, but for some reason, the way he wrote that and the amount of hate I was getting, it massively discouraged me. But then I got woken up the next second because I got the next message that I read one more message. I was discouraged. And the message came from a lady and she was a mom. And she said, Caleb, I want to thank you. She said, my son had the worst grades in his class. He was depressed. He actually doesn't have a father in his life. He has no friends. He's just in a terrible place. And I actually caught him a couple weeks ago trying to kill himself. After watching your videos, he decided that he's now going to start reading instead of playing video games. He's going to start doing better in school. He's now already starting to make friends. He's watching more of your videos. I've never seen him more positive. And then she said this is the kicker. She said, I want to thank you. Because of you, not only is my son not dead, but he's finally alive. And as I read that message, man, it literally put me into a spiral of, number one, being so mad at myself for ever thinking that I would stop because of one person hating on me. Because in that moment, I realized this one person told me to go kill myself, but then the exact same video stopped a kid from killing himself. In that moment, I realized anything that stops me from trying to, accomplish my goals, go after what I'm doing, impact people, that's just my own selfishness. That's just me that's me putting the attention on myself rather than the people I'm impacting. And that shifted my life, man. That was the one time I thought about giving up. And immediately after that, it made me realize I'm not giving up on me. I can give up, dude. I can give up right now. No one would care. The world would spin, dude. The world would spin. It literally wouldn't. You may get sad for a second. Oh, okay, they didn't post no more, but you're going to keep going, like whatever's going to happen. The world's going to move on. But the world may be changed for somebody else if I do keep going. I'm not giving up on me. I'm giving up on them. I'm not giving up on myself. I'm giving up on the millions of people that I'm having the opportunity to impact. So that was the one moment I thought about giving up. But then also, right after that was the one moment I decided I ain't never thinking about giving up. I ain't giving up on myself. I ain't giving up on other people. There's too much at stake.
That must have been an emotional experience, like going on one end of the spectrum and then being thrown right to the other side as well, all in one day.
Tears, bro. Yeah, tears. I was crying.
I can imagine. So just before we get into the final few questions, let me ask you this. How did you end up at Arnold's house?
Arnold's house, bro. It's actually good question. Nobody asked me this stuff. You asked me a question. I like which is weird. Like you would think someone asked that, but I guess people don't go that deep. So Arnold, it's an interesting story. So I actually was in an airport one time, and I basically saw these two shoe shiners. And the two shoe shiners, literally, we had a delay in our plane. And the two shoe shiners literally for hours were doing nothing. They were on their phone for hours. They didn't look up one time. And me being like the fire, I was 13. This is my first ever like viral video I actually put out. I was 13. This is just after I came out with my book and everything. And so I was like, Dad, like, these shoe shiners aren't doing anything, bro. They're just slacking, man. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a video on it. But the problem was there were so many people walking around me that I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to do this like with so many people around. Like I started getting subconscious and people are going to think I'm weird because I'm videoing in public. My dad was like, Caleb, no one's ever going to remember you doing this, but the people watching it will. I was like, all right. So I pulled out my phone and filmed it. And I filmed the video. It wasn't bad, but I was basically just saying like, hey, how many of you guys are passing up opportunities in life? Look how many people are walking by these guys. Nothing against them, but this is how you're going to win. Next thing you know, the video blew up. And to this day, I think it has like 1.2 million views or something like that. But what happened from that video was a couple people saw it. A guy named Brandon Adams saw it. And Brandon Adams, number one, awesome dude. And then he introduced me to Kevin Harrington, Lewis Howes, Jake Paul, and a few others. And I also spoke at his event. And then a guy named Glenn Twiddle saw it. And Glenn Twiddle introduced me to, or he had me come speak at his event. And I headlined an event with him with Gary Vaynerchuk. So I met Gary Vee for the first time because of that. And then he also invited me because he was going over to Arnold Schwarzenegger's house for a charity event. He invited me to Arnold Schwarzenegger's house. And at Arnold's house was Sylvester Stallone, and then Jason Statham, and the list goes on. So from that one video, I met all those people. And that actually was a huge catalyst in my life because I realized, imagine if I would have cared what those people thought about me walking through that place. Can you think about that though? Like I would have never met Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham, Lewis Howes, Jake Paul, Kevin Harrington, the list goes on. Glenn Twiddle, Brandon Adams. But because I got over myself, I got out of my own way and I did it. Look at what's happened. And not only that, but like the things that's happened since then, the opportunities that's come from that, the connections that those people have introduced me to, it's insane to think where I would be. So many people don't realize, number one video can make that big of a difference. Number two, think about it. The plane got delayed. Like, what if my plane never got delayed? So number one, you got to realize the world really is working for you rather than against you. And number three, stop caring what people think about you, because what people think about you is not gonna impact anybody else. First of all, when you care, it's the worst system, because when you care what people think about you, you're never gonna have mass amounts of people think good about you. So it's like the weirdest system. Like you care what people think, in return, people think less of you. It's like this weird thing. But when you stop caring what people think and you care about your mission, you're all of a sudden going to have people that really start listening to what you have to say and care. So that's how I met him. It's a cool story that I don't really get to share a lot, but I guess that's the one question. Going back to the beginning of the interview, that's the one question I wish people asked me, bro. It's a good job. You got
it. No, I love it. That's why I wanted to get into that. And it's a good story because the lesson that comes out of it is get over your own fears and insecurities, because you have no idea the opportunities you're leaving on the table just because you thought, nah, maybe I'll do it when the airport's a little bit more quiet, or maybe I'll do it when we're in the airplane, you know, it'll be less busy, whatever it is. I don't know. But like, you did it and then it's blown up, and you didn't even imagine that those people were standing there waiting for you to, you know, with open arms saying, yeah, Caleb, I've got something for you. Just make the damn video and I've got something for you. So no, I hope people take that away. So just to get into the final few questions, first of which is there anything different you would tell your younger self, 7 or 8 years old, to yourself at the start of the journey that you wish you knew now that you've come this far?
Yes and no. No, because I'm so happy with where I am and where I'm going. But like, if I were to advise him and like whatever, of course. So I'd say a few things. First thing I would say is don't like think you have to do so much. Be more focused on mastering one thing. I think that's what a lot of people starting off think is like, I got to get 6 businesses going or whatever. I was so like, I got to get multiple streams of income and all that stuff that it kind of spread me thin. So that would be the first thing I would say is, like, really be focused on one thing and do it until you find out if it works. If it works, double down and then triple down. And then whenever it's just rolling on its own, now you can start something else. And if it doesn't work, try a new thing and just keep doing it. That's the first thing I'd say. Second thing I would say is, I would say be like even more patient than I was. Like, I don't know. Like, I was pretty patient more than most people, but I would have probably not have tried to, like, you know, prove myself to some people and, like, you know, made myself seem a certain way. I would have just strictly just let the results pan out. And sometimes I thought like I have to position myself or whatever, which is totally not true. I would say that I would, you know, like another Drake lyric. Drake has a lyric. He's like, I wish I could go back on my life, not so I could redo anything, but so that I could live some stuff twice. It's like a little like poetic thing. What he means by that is like, I wish I could go back, not because I would redo anything. I love where I'm at, but I wish I could relive it. So like what I would tell my young person is like, dude, enjoy it, man. Buckle your seatbelt. It's a great ride. And like, I'm 16 now. I'm literally just getting started. I'm closer right now to my 7-year-old self than I am to my 30-year-old self. And I don't even know how to comprehend that. So for me, I'm so young. It's just like, dude, just enjoy it. I'm so happy with where I'm at. I'm happy with the lessons I've learned. And I wouldn't have learned those lessons had I not have gone through the things I've gone through and had the failures I've had. So buckle up and enjoy it. You know, everything pans out. Like that's the thing. People always get so nervous. Like, what if stuff doesn't work? Or what if I do the wrong thing? Here's the deal. If you are obsessed with a mission and have the right intentions, you're set. Like, if you were just obsessed with a mission, you're going to figure out the right path. And don't let anything discourage you. Meaning, you're just like, I'm getting this no matter what. And you're you know, if you're obsessed with that, you're going to figure out what books you need to read, who you need to connect with. You're going to try things most people don't try. You're obsessed with that and have the right intention, meaning you're ethical, meaning you have character. You want to see other people win. It's literally impossible for you to fail. You may short-term fail, but it's impossible for you to long-term fail. And that's what most people don't get. So I feel like no matter what I could tell myself, I would still end up where I'm at and be very happy. I got a lot more to go. The real question is, what would my 40-year-old self tell my 16-year-old self? That's what I'm looking forward to hear, bro.
Oh yeah, we're going to get you back on the air at 40 to see where you're at. So
yes,
now looking forward to that. So the second question, if there's one statement that you could write and goes into a time capsule for generations from now to read, what would that one statement be from you?
Ooh, that's a great question. You say it goes into a time capsule?
Yeah. So decades from now, they'll dig it up and they'll read it.
Decades from now, I don't know. Because here's what's cool, though. Here's what's cool, okay? I'm going to give you the actual answer, but I'm going to also spin off for a second. Here's what I love about where we're at, though. In decades from now, I could literally just say, watch my videos from the past. And that's what's so cool. Like, we live in such a unique time where, like, our content is our time capsule. Like, I really believe that. Like, that's my mission statement for our content team with Team Maddix, is create content for 10,000 generations. That's literally our mission statement. I think that's what's so cool about with what we do is like literally every advice I'm ever going to give in my life, and I'm going to continue to put out way more than I've already put out, will be able to be seen. So that's what's so exciting. 10,000 years from now, they'll still be able to see it, which I can't wait. Cause even Martin Luther King was just alive so little ago. Yeah, we have so few words from him, but then you have someone like Gary Vaynerchuk, Tony Robbins, those guys, we already have so much from them. So super excited. Okay, let me think deep for a second, because I feel like that's a really big task, a time capsule, 10,000 years from now or whatever, decades from now, whatnot. So my statement would literally be, find out why you're here. Here's what I mean by that. People, the number one thing that irritates me about people is the lack of clarity they have of why they're on the planet, or the lack of hunger to find out that clarity of why they're here. I believe that most people don't get what they want out of life because they don't know what it is they want out of life. Meaning they're not getting the result they want because they don't even know what results they want. How do you expect to get a six-pack or whatever? You don't even know if you haven't defined that you want it. People are like, oh, I'm so mad, I'm unhealthy. You don't wake up every morning and decide, I'm gonna be healthy. I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna eat healthy, right? Or same thing with business. Like, people are like, I don't have a multi-million-dollar business. Look, how many times have you written it down in the morning? Like, have you set that clear intention? Like, are you constantly every day progressing towards it? Those people don't get what they want out of life because they don't know what it is they want. And they end up, they're like a paper bag floating through a parking lot during a hurricane. Just going all around life. You need to be more like a freaking, like a lion, bro. That's just, boom, they have a mission. They're on that chase. If I could literally tell anybody anything, that's the key. What do you want out of life? That's my biggest irritation, is people who float out of life or float through life. That's my whole entire goal for this next generation, is to raise a generation that's clear with where they're going and where the world is going. Because if we continue to lack clarity of where we're going, we're going to end up in a place that we don't want to be. So like that's honestly, if right now you're watching this interview and you don't know what it is you want out of life, definitely, like, I know what I want out of life, straight up. I am on a mission to change the culture of the earth. I'm not here for pleasure, but I'm here to provide pleasure to all 7 billion people on earth. And I want to shift the culture of the earth and help every person that I come in contact with have an 180-degree transformation in my life and their life. And every decision I make, every action I take, every venture I partner on with somebody, everything I do goes into that. Therefore, I'm working towards that. If right now you're watching this and you don't know what it is you want out of life or where you're going specifically, pause it right now, come back to it, watch all of his other interviews, go deep with him, know your legacy, go deep. Like, this is literally perfect, because you know your legacy, literally. It's like, know which, like, dude, figure out why you're here and what your purpose is. Because until you do that, nothing else will fall into place. I've never met an unclear successful person. Never. Never met an unclear billionaire.
Yeah.
Never met an unclear, person that has millions of reach. Know what you want out of life. That's what I would say.
Most definitely. And it's so important. We forget to do that because we think that's where all of the procrastination and the complaints and the excuses come up, because it's like, you don't even know the picture that you're trying to go for. And if you don't know what it looks like, how do you know when you got there? You're always just moving.
100%.
You don't know if you're making progress or not.
That's good too. So that's another thing. When you don't know what you want out of life, number one, you don't get what you want out of life. Number two, even when you do get what you want out of life, you're unfulfilled because you were never clear that's what you want. You know what I mean? It's like there's people who are like not clear with the fact that they want what they want out of life. They don't know how much money they want to make, but they think they want to make money. And next thing you know, they're in a job that gives them $600,000 a year. And now they're not happy because they were never clear that's what they wanted. I love that. Boom, you would just put the cherry on top, bro.
No, I love it. No. So the final question, big one. You've come to the end of your life now, whatever age that might be. You've lived a long, healthy, adventurous life. What's the legacy you want to leave behind?
The legacy I want to leave behind is a whole bunch of other people that are set up to have a massive legacy. Like literally, I want to die, and I literally want people to say, Caleb shifted the culture of the earth. The culture of the earth is completely different because he was born and lived. Like we operate different, we think different, we live different, we treat each other different because Caleb Maddix was alive, and his legacy is that he created 50,000 other people that are legends as well, and that also left a massive legacy that shifted the culture of the earth.
I love that. This has been a phenomenal hour. I mean, before we wrap up and turn this off, what's the best place for people to find you, follow your content?
Well, first things first, I mean, listen, this is what I would say. You're going to find out about me in 10 years anyway. You'll be seeing me across social media. So first thing I want to say, make sure you're subscribed to my boy Know Your Legacy's podcast, because I can't wait to see all the things coming out from you and everything you got going on, and can't wait for the follow-up interview whenever I'm 40. I know it's going to be killer. But if you guys do want to connect with me now, what I would say is Instagram is probably one of the best places. I'm pretty much Caleb Maddix on everything. If you search my name, you'll find it. But if you guys could do me a favor, what I love, because, you know, sometimes as creators, we love to, because like sometimes it feels like you're just talking about a camera. But whenever like people become real and you hear their stories and you hear how you influence them, that's the ultimate satisfaction for me. So if you can really do me a favor, the thing you can do, you don't got to follow me or whatever. DM me on Instagram at Caleb Maddix and let me know what you thought about this podcast, because for me, that's what keeps me going, is knowing when people are listening. And also, I would love to follow some of you guys back, you know, DM you guys back, answer your questions. You have another question outside of the podcast, like ask me personally. I'll send you a video back. Like just DM me on Instagram and, you know, let me know what you thought about the podcast. Say, hey, I came from Know Your Legacy, and I'll immediately hit you guys back up. I'll do my very best to get back to all of you. Just be like, hey, much love. I appreciate it. And that's it. Like, seriously, I appreciate anybody who took time and attention to watch this and listen to this podcast. And also, I appreciate you, brother, for having me on and allowing me to share my message with more people. Seriously.
No, most definitely, man. I appreciate you taking the time to do this. So, no, looking forward to the next time we speak.